What's up, guys? MC Stu here, and today we're going to talk about the event campaign and what to consider when making your choice as to what to get. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so in today's video, we're going to talk about the event campaign. There are some that have already completed it that were on it every single day. I'm going to complete it myself on my main account here tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's without buying anything out, and I wasn't as on it as some of the other players in the game. So it is more than possible to get this thing done, halfway through the year. I don't have all the math right now. If you're starting right now, even if you buy, well, there's only one left, so I don't think there's any way. Correct me down in the comments if there's any way, if you're just brand new coming in, if there's any way for you to still complete this. I do not believe so. I don't think there's enough. If it was at the beginning of this and you bought it out, did all of the content through the entire event, and then bought out the next event, which is the last one. Otherwise, the next one will be starting up, I don't want to say soon, but at the beginning of next year. So, a little bit of housekeeping just to start with. The videos have been a little bit light for me lately. I'm in the middle of organizing a move. I'm going to be building a new home. I'm going to actually be living out of a RV trailer for a few months while that's happening. So video output starting here in the next couple weeks is going to drop real low, even lower than it has been. I will have my rig set up at my office, and we'll do my best to get some stuff out. Probably won't be doing any of the new stuff. I'll be just trying to do content that is helpful, how-tos, and different things like that. So just a quick update there. So let's go ahead and talk about the event campaign and what we're going to do. I'm not going to focus on like what ships you should or shouldn't get. I will talk about at the end just some suggestions based on some other decisions that you'll have to think about. And wonderful. Little server timeout. I'll be right back. All right, we are back in. I don't know for how long I was rubber banding across the map, which was a little bit interesting. Anyways, so let's talk about the event campaign and how to consider, what to get. So it's less about the suggestions that I have in terms of the specific ships or gear that you can get, because that is going to vary greatly depending on what kind of player you are, how long you've been playing, whether you put money into the game, how many ships you might already have, and those kinds of things. So we're going to kind of talk through maybe what to consider in terms of which one of the prizes to pick, depending on what type of player you are and where you are in the game. So let's start with looking at the event campaign itself, and what you have to choose from, and I'm sure most of you are already aware of this, is you can pick any promo ship / lockbox ship that was released prior to the start of 2023. So any ships that have come out this year, you would not be able to get from this event campaign box. You would have to wait till next year's if there was something that you really wanted in that came out during this year. The second option is going to be 2 C-Store ship coupons. So this essentially will let you go into the C-Store and pick any singular ship. This is not going to cover any of the legendary ships. Basically, any ship that you can normally get for 3,000 Zen at its regular price, you would be able to purchase with those coupons, and you would be able to get 2 of them. Lastly, you can choose to pick lobi. And it's a pretty good chunk of lobi, and I'm trying to see if it says you have 15,000. So that is a lot of lobi. So you have 3 options to pick, and I get a lot of questions about, well, what should I pick? And it's not a loaded question, but it's different for everybody. So why don't we go ahead and start, say, in the middle, okay? So I would recommend picking up this package of the 2 C-Store coupons if you are somebody that's relatively new to the game and don't plan on spending any kind of money in the game. So you're going to be free to play at least through the next year, through the next event campaign, and you're not going to spend any kind of money. The reason for that is because undoubtedly at some point you're going to hit a place where you want to roll another character. And there's a lot of different reasons to do that, resource grinding, things like that. You can have many additional characters that don't have to be kind of your main characters that you're going to really kind of build up, or maybe you're going to do one of each class, but additional characters can really help your account overall in terms of collecting resources and then focusing those resources on the main character that you want. So there's a number of different reasons why you might want to pick up additional characters, and most people that stick around for more than a year and start going in longer term are definitely going to have additional characters. So the reason why I would suggest this is because all of the ships in the C store are reclaimable. And so what this will do is it'll unlock 2 premium ships that are going to be reclaimable across your entire account. Lobi items are not reclaimable. They're a one-time purchase per character. So let's say there was a ship that you wanted and you wanted to get it on sale. So with 15,000 Lobi, you'd have enough to get 2 while they're doing a Lobi sale. You could get 1 ship on one character and 1 ship on another character, but you would not be able to get both ships on any particular character unless you had that one character unlock both of the ships. So essentially, once you unbox a Lobi ship, you choose it on a particular character, that character now has it, and you have no way of reclaiming it or transferring it to any of your other characters. So it's one time on the account. By going with the C-Store, as stated before, you now have 2 premium ships that are unlocked for you across your account. And so that's really helpful as soon as you go to roll additional tunes, because now you can have additional ships. So let's say you're brand new and you pick one of these other ones, just to give another example to kind of beat home the point. Let's say you pick a promo ship, you get that new shiny one you really wanted, and then a month later you're like, you know what, I'm going to roll another character. I want to play an engineer or science or a tactical or a different race or whatever it may be. You are going to be stuck with the ships that you get unlocked as you level, which are going to max out at tier 5, and it's going to be a real bummer having a tier 6 ship on one character and knowing how that performs compared to a tier 5, because they're not going to be the same. Now, just to avoid all the comments, you can build a tier 5 ship to compete, especially if you upgrade it and you do an X upgrade. I have videos showing tier 5 ships doing just as well, but it takes additional resources in terms of either buying upgrades and the X upgrades, and it's a lot harder to do. You got to have premium gear, Lobi items. Is it doable for free? Yes, but again, this is talking to newer players that are playing for free. So if you fall into that category, I would highly recommend picking up these 2 coupons. If you're just here for the feels and the way things look, and you're just going to fly around a ship with a character, and you don't care about maybe ever rolling any other tunes, or you don't care so much about the shipbuilding aspect and building up different kinds of builds and things like that. If that's the case, and I probably should have started with that, pick whatever looks great to you. And if you go that route, I'm not going to knock you for it. Okay, everybody's here for different reasons, and if you're just here for the looks and you just want to fly, that hero ship or whatever it is around, go for it. We're here to have fun. How you choose to do that is up to you. So we should have started with that. But otherwise, if you are a free-to-play player and you're going to be sticking around for at least the next year, I would highly recommend starting off with the 2 C-Store rewards, so you have those 2 ships unlocked across your account and can reclaim them and use them on as many tunes as you want to. Next, let's talk about the lockbox ships. The lockbox ships, that's going to fall into the category of, if you are somebody right off the bat, whether you're new or not new, if you're somebody that is okay with spending money on the game, maybe you've bought in a couple ships, then the lockbox ships are a good option, depending on what you want to do. So if you're starting to, get your feet on the ground and kind of figure out how the build stuff works, there's a lot of good ships in the C-Store that you'll need for different particular builds. There's some very good looking ships. There's tons and tons in there. But if you're somebody that's looking at, a promo ship and there's just something that you really want, if you're somebody that is okay with spending money on the game, then it makes this not worth it. So I guess the way this is going to go is, as we start to look at these other things, we're going to talk about the lesser of the order that I started in being not really worth it. So if you're somebody that spends money on the game, these are worth $30 each. If you're in America, 3,000 Zen. That's $60 for 2 of them. A promo ship on average is going to cost you, if you buy keys and you sell them, they're going to cost you about $100. So there's a $100 value in a promo/lockbox ship. Or if you're gambling, it can cost you even more. If you're just opening boxes, you're looking at $200 to $250. So from a value standpoint in terms of price, your promo ship or lockbox ship is going to carry much higher value. But again, if you're someone that's not going to spend money on the game either way, you're going to be better off starting with 2 C-store ships so they're account-wide unlocked. Because if you go with your lockbox or your promo ships, you're only going to be able to pick up that one choice ship a year. Now, there's other events that happen throughout the year, like the summer event that just ended, and there will be another event starting up here pretty soon. I've labeled it the fall event. There's not really a reoccurring name for it, but basically every fall there's another event where you'll get another tier 6 ship. So you can get quite a few tier 6 ships every year. Some of them are good, some of them aren't at all. But, being able to pick from the box, you're going to get exactly what you want. And in a lot of cases, the best ships in the game are going to be in the lock boxes and in the promo category. And we'll talk about which ones are good to consider towards the end of the video there. So again, if you're somebody that's okay with spending a little money on the game, you've already bought a couple ships, you're going to be a lot better off picking one of these latter 2 options, because these, from a dollar standpoint, are going to cost you a lot more money, and you can just purchase your C-store ships yourself if you're buying one every month or 2 or whatever it is that you're doing. And again, we'll come back to kind of what ships to kind of consider, and I'll just kind of throw out a couple just kind of ships that have good utility with, good consoles, traits, things like that. So next, let's talk about the lobi and why we might want to consider that. Now, the lobi store, let's talk about where it comes from first. So normally when you buy keys and you open lock boxes, you are going to get a few lobi crystals. I have some down here. I actually claimed these from last year's event campaign, which I just claimed it like 2 weeks ago. So I've been sitting on my reward for last year, and I got it about the same time last year. So for almost an entire year, because I couldn't make up my own mind. Now on my main account, I have a lot of ships. I have spent a lot of money. I've played the game for a long time. So that becomes a little bit harder. If I don't really need anything, then I just kind of hang on to stuff until I do. So when you open lock boxes with master keys, and let's just talk in terms of dollar amount when they're on sale, makes the math easier. They are $100. Okay. So when you open a box, on average, what I've seen is 4 to 5 lobi crystals is what I get when I open a box. So let's go with the higher number at 5. That's going to cost you $300 in order to get 1,500 lobi. And so, and just real quick, so if we double click on the lobi, just so you know what's in there, there is ships, there is space gear, ground gear, costumes, vanity pets, devices, okay? There's some very good ships in here. Most of them are very specific. So for instance, the Intel Battlecruiser, if you're putting together a torpedo build, this is a must-have. If you're doing, a science build, the trait that comes on this ship is a must-have. And a lot of these ships are decent. There's better ships in the game for most of the roles, but they're decent, good ships. But some of the traits that come on them, again, are must-have. So if you are putting together a beam overload, having the beam overload extension trait is going to be really a must-have if you want to max that out, and that comes off the primate ship that is located in the store as well. So there's items in here, ships and gear, that are really, really good to have. And there's gear that is really must-have if you're somebody that, wants to build for performance. And I don't mean DPS chasing and all that craziness, but there's a lot of people who play the game. They love the way everything looks, and they want their stuff to perform decent. And there's some good gear in here that will achieve that, so you can play advanced content if you want to, or if you got a couple friends, you can play elite content and get resources for building some of the new advanced consoles that were added to the crafting schools, and so that there's good reason to pick up lobi and buy some of this gear. So, some of the there's gear in here that basically I'll use on pretty much every single build. So it has very good utility. There's some stuff that's very kind of specific for different kinds of builds, and I'll link down in the description. I have a video that goes through basically all of these items, or the ones that you should really consider. And I approach that video from the standpoint of utility. So what are you going to get the most bang for buck out of, right? So there's some stuff in there that's really good for like, an EPG build or something, right? But it's only good for that. There's other items that are in there, a few of them that are good across the board. You can use it on pretty much any kind of build. So it's got really good utility with it. So that's what comes out of the lobi store, and you get them, like I said, from opening lock boxes. So basically the value here is we're looking at about $300. And so if you're just purely looking at this from a value standpoint, so you're somebody that will spend an infinite amount of money on the game, let's just say that, then lobi makes the most sense, because you obviously have no problem buying C-store ships at $30 a piece, or when they're on sale for $24, and at $100 to $250, you can get promo ships all day long. So it would make sense to just buy lobi, okay? Now, or just choose the lobi as your reward. So you're a whale, you're somebody that has no problem spending money on the game. Now, there's other reasons to do that as well. So I think in the second event campaign on my free-to-play, I went ahead and chose the lobi. Now, the reason I did that is because I had two characters, one being kind of the main that I was really starting to focus on doing all my different kinds of builds on the one. Because I didn't want to have, because it's a free-to-play account, I can't afford to go buy, lobi ships and lockbox ships that are singular character unlocks, and I only have a finite amount of C-store ships that I was able to get either from codes or coupons and different things like that from these events. So I think it was the second event around, I went ahead and decided to pick lobi, and I focused pretty much all of it on just my one main character, and I got those consoles that I was talking about that I referred to in the video that's specifically about it. And again, I'll link that down in the description. Because I can take any ship in the game and make it do really, really good. Will it do the best? I mean, no, depending on what it is. But let's say it's got the worst layouts, one of the oldest ships. If you put the right gear on it, that makes it work. And so what's nice about that is, you could be someone that, you want to fly X ship, the one you saw on whichever of the shows. Well, you can make that ship perform more than good enough to compete in, any of the TFOs and any of the content in the game. And the way you do that is by having good gear to put on your ship. And the lobi store is where you would do that. So let's say that you're somebody that has 2 or 3 C-store ships, and you have ones that you really like, and you're enjoying yourself, and maybe some of the lockbox stuff, it just it's not super exciting to you, and you really just want to focus on performance. Then at that point, I would also suggest to you that lobi might be something that you want to consider. Now, one thing I will recommend if you pick the lobi is they will have lobi sales. So basically everything in the lobi store, 20% off or 25% off. So you can get a lot more bang for your buck with the lobi that you pick. So if you do pick that reward, you also may need to wait a little while until the next sale goes. And they go once every couple months. They're fairly regular, so you wouldn't have to wait too much longer. So, if you're someone that, if I could just do anything I wanted on my free-to-play, which I can't, I would pick, a particular lockbox ship that's just that hero ship that I, really want. But I'm really focused on being able to get the best performance for $0. That's kind of the point in how I have fun on my free-to-play account. I enjoy the challenge of being able to be competitive in TFOs and being able to do well with spending $0, right? And I'm starting to accumulate a good amount of time on that account. So that's something else that really kind of counts. It's not money, but it's just as valuable, your time. So, when we're saying free to play involves lots of play, more than what you would have to do in order to get items in the game if you were paying. So, with the lobi, again, if you're somebody that you're a whale, you spend whatever you don't have any problem in your monthly budget just kind of buying whatever ship you want to, then lobi is going to be the way to go, because you're going to be able to pick ships out of there you can't buy anywhere else. You can't buy it with money. You have to open boxes and accumulate it that way. And it's going to get you at least the most value when you translate it into dollars at $300 for that minimum amount of lobi. If you're somebody that has played the game, or you're new, whatever it is, but you're okay with spending $30 once a quarter or here and there, and you're picking up ships that you like, you're having fun, you're doing well with those ships, then lobi is also a consideration. But lockbox ships would also have the same kind of consideration, because when you're looking, when you get into the game far enough and you've decided that I want to get into the building aspect of putting together a tank or an EPG, there's very specific things that you need in terms of gear and in terms of starship traits. And some of those starship traits come from the lock boxes. So these two things at that point kind of become equal in what you're considering. What is it that you need? Do you need some particular traits that come off a lockbox ship, or do you need gear that comes out of the lobi? So those are things that you want to look at. Again, if you're a brand new player and you don't know and you're not afraid to spend money, join the Discord and ask. Say, what are the things that I can do? Or here's kind of what I was thinking. And we can say, give you some advice. So, okay, well, how do you like to play? What do you like to do? Here's some of the things that you should look at, and we can give you a little bit more specific advice on kind of what to consider. But these are really the things that, people need to look at. So what's the dollar value? And then what kind of a player are you, in terms of your budget and what you spend? Because really what we're doing here is we're balancing resources is what this is. So where can I make decisions here that are going to, net me the most amount of resource benefit for the fun that I have in the game? For me, it's performance. I like to build for that. Other people, they want to have, that, the Discovery Connie, and you can get that out of the lockboxes. For others, they're gonna have a bunch of tunes, and they want to build a science character and an engineer and a tactical officer. Well, then C-store ships, those are going to be the most reclaimable, where you can just grab all of those ships and have them available to you across your account. And again, if you're somebody that's building for performance and you already have some ships, that you're building on, you're happy with, you're putting together, let's say, a torpedo build, you may want to pick, the ship, I think it's the D7 that ruin of your enemy comes from, our enemy comes from, or you might want to pick Universal Designs, which comes off of another lockbox ship. Or if you already have most of the traits you want and you need the gear, then consider the lobi. So I know this is kind of all over the place, but it's not a straightforward answer, and it's not even close to straightforward where I can give you a couple different tiers of different kinds of people and what you're doing, and here's the ships, because you have, okay, what kind of a spender are you? And that's really kind of the baseline for me. That's where you have to start, is what kind of resources am I willing to put into the game, either time or real money. That's where you kind of start the stage from this. And then it's what kind of a player am I within game? Am I just flying around living La Vida Loca, loving my ship? If you are, pick whatever makes you happy in terms of the way that the ship looks. If you're somebody that's building something specific and you're trying to get the different parts for it, then you need to look at what those parts are and where do they come from. And you need to make your decision based off of that. If you're somebody that's a whale, it's probably not a big deal that you're getting, one of these things free, because you buy everything already. So at that standpoint, from that standpoint, for me anyways, because even if I was a whale just buying whatever, I'm still trying to get the most I can for my dollar, and that would be lobi. But if you're a whale and you already have, thousands and thousands of lobi, then this video is probably not for you. I mean, pick what makes you happy, and what makes you happy you probably already have if you're a whale. So whale, free to play, whatever it may be, as long as you're not brand new, you really need to look at this stuff in terms of what am I trying to accomplish in the game with my builds, and what do I like doing, and look at these rewards to see, okay, what is going to get me, what I'm looking for. So check out my videos. Augie's videos are still up. Spencer has videos that are up, CasualSAB, and there's quite a few others out there, TriZander, Endeavor Gaming. There's also someone, I'm going to link them in the description, and I apologize, I can't remember their name, but they focus primarily on budget stuff. And it's really good. I'll link them down in the description as well, but take a look at the different things that, we're showing in these videos. Find something you like, and then look at, okay, where do these things come from? And again, you can always comment on the videos. Most of us are really good about responding, or join the Discord server. Links down in the description. We do giveaways in there. Currently, there's a 10 master key giveaway going. There's a great community in our Discord. We have almost 3,000 people that all play the game and are knowledgeable, and everybody's willing to help. So definitely check that out, because it's a great resource. And again, if you're a couple months into this game, it's probably pretty overwhelming. If you're watching this video because you're going to get this reward, then you're probably at least 6 to 7 months into the game if you caught on quick and were able to start taking advantage of that. So if you're newer like that, free to play or not, I would definitely recommend joining the Discord, reaching out to us in the community. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions and try and help you make the best decisions here. So again, there was just never a way that I could say, here's what you should pick, because you is different for all of you. And it really depends on where you're at in the game. So I'll give just kind of off the top of my head a couple things to consider. So if you're someone looking at C-store ships, the Ambassador class is a really good one. History, remember, is the trait that comes on it, and the ship's fairly decent. So it's the Enterprise C that we saw in Next Generation. It has a really good trait on it. That's survivability. It has good utility. You can use it on pretty much everything. As you progress to like higher ends of it, you probably won't use it as much, but in the meanwhile, like on my free-to-play, I use it all the time. It's a good ship. The Arbiter is another one. The ship is older and dated, but it's still decent. I would give it probably a 6 or 7 out of 10. The trait that comes on it is pretty much a must-have for any kind of energy weapon build. So cannons or any kind of beam array builds in any kind of shape, you're definitely going to want to consider picking that ship up because it's really a must-have in terms of that. Those would probably be my first two choices. Another trait that's pretty decent is Strike from Shadows. It has very good utility that you can use pretty much across the board, and that comes off a C-Store ship. In terms of lockbox ships, there's a lot of good ones. Again, you are only going to get the one, so that value proposition varies. But the Terran warship, it's a Connie variant. It's a very good ship. It has Terran Goodbye on it, which is an excellent trait for damage output. Across the board, very good utility regardless of the type of build, and the ship itself is very, very decent. The Vodwearer Juggernaut is a good ship. The trait and console that come on it are okay. The ship itself, if you're going to be a cannon scatter volley, that's your thing, it's definitely the one to get, but it is hard to fly and you're not really going to be doing much else with it. And again, that's when I say that you can do anything you want with it, but it's going to really excel at that, and it's not really going to excel at much else. Beam overload, dual beam bank, kind of forward firing, maybe. That's a pretty decent ship. The Deimos is a good ship. On my free to play, I'm going to pick up one of the refit, the Discovery refit. I personally kind of like the way that ship looks. I know a lot of people aren't fans of Discovery, but the trait that comes on it is very good as well. That's more for your high-end style of builds. What else is there? There's just so many ships, and there's a lot of good stuff. So again, I would recommend either asking in the comments, hey, I'm looking at doing this, what do you think? Or joining that Discord and asking that question there. Because most of the ships have some kind of utility. It's just really, there's certain ships that just have tons of it. And some of it does vary a little bit depending on what it is that you like to do in the game. So I would ask the question there. In terms of lobi, and again, I'll link the video for lobi because I go through, I have a video for the ships to consider and also the gear. Most of the ships, like I said, are going to be build specific if you're picking them up. If there's EPG, you're getting a particular one. If they're, if you're doing torpedoes, there's another one. If you're doing beams, but if we just had to pick one, utility wise, I probably would pick the, God, my brain is working bad tonight. It's late. Sorry, guys. It's the one from the Kelvin movies. It was the first premium ship that I got. It's the Kelvin Timeline Intel Dreadnought. It's an awesome ship. It's got very good utility. It looks great. I think it's still a fan favorite, even though it's an older ship. But it's good, and it's definitely something I would consider picking up if you're going the lobi direction. But again, if you're somebody that, if you're looking at the lobi, it's probably because you're doing something build specific. And so in that case, you're going to want to be picking your ship based off what you need that ship for. There's most of these ships in here. I don't think on any of my characters, on any of my accounts, do I fly any of the ships that are actually in here for my main ship, because there's ships that are going to perform in every aspect better for the most part than what you can get out of here. But traits, consoles that come off them, and a lot of them are decent. I mean, they're still good ships, but they're ships that outclass them. In terms of gear, your overall Boimler effect comes out of here. This is a great personal space trait. It gives you great cooldown. It's really a must-have if you're doing any kind of build. You can use it on basically everything. Your Swarmer processor is going to give you a big chunk of critical chance. And then if we look at some of there's a couple older consoles that are just very, very good. And I'm just kind of naming off the ones that have good utility. So this is going to give you a big boost to crit chance, crit severity, and control. The two crit chance, crit severity are pretty much good for every build. Or if we look at the binaural infused circuitry, this gives you one of the largest boosts you can get to critical severity, especially after it's upgraded. There's a lot of other specific gear in here. So if you're doing tort builds, using these two items along with their two-piece bonus that you get, cannon builds. There is a cannon. Where is it? Again, check out the video, and I'll get more specifics there for you. Cannon. If you're doing scatter volley, haste, I mean, there's a ton of good stuff, but the rest of it really gets kind of specific. If you're tanking, having this console along with this Omni is basically a must-have if you're trying to tank elites. So there's great items in here, but again, this is leaning towards if you kind of know the direction you're wanting to head and you're building specifically for that. All right, guys, I think that's going to finish it up for me. I can kind of keep rambling on about this all night because there's an endless amount of scenarios that, each person might fall into. But again, it's a matter of resource management. If you're someone that spends tons of money on the game, then this video really doesn't even matter. If you're someone, though, that, has budgets and, you can't always buy the things that you want, then this is something that you really need to think about what you're going to get the most bang for buck out of. So again, one last plug for the Discord. Check it out. Again, we do giveaways in there, and there's just a ton of knowledge. If you need any help with the game or, anything in general with the game or picking a particular thing, we can engage with you there and give you some more personalized advice. All right, guys, that does it. Let me know what you think. What are you guys going to be picking? Again, we're going to get a jillion different answers because it's different for everybody, but I'm always interested to hear, what other people are picking and also why. And a lot of times that'll kind of steer, what I'm picking. I think I have already made my mind up, though. For my free-to-play, I am going to get the Discovery refit for the trait that's on it. The ship is okay, science ship, but the trait for what I'm building for on my free-to-play, so on the main character, I'm trying to see how much DPS can I push on a completely free-to-play player, and that trait is something that is really kind of a must-have. For full disclosure, it does require either the phaser lance or the space crystals that came from an event, something to proc it. So don't just go get it because that's what I'm getting, because you won't get as much out of it. You basically have to click universal consoles in order to proc it. Those two items I just named are what kind of keep that up all the time, and you get quite a bit out of it. On my main account that I'm on here, I am going to pick the Excelsior 2, and it's mainly just because the ship is beautiful. I really like the way it looks, and the console that comes on it is really, really cool. I think it'll be really nice on a beam overload. It's not game breaking. It's not super, meta one way or the other. I just like it, and I want to be able to fly the ship, and so that's what I'm going to pick on my main account. So there are my top picks, but again, they're personal. One's based off performance, the other one's based off just vanity. I just like it, and I want to fly it, so that's what I'm going to be picking. So, all right, guys, I will wrap it up there. Till next time, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you. Hey guys, appreciate you watching. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, ring the bell, and sub to the channel for the latest news updates and how-to guides.